be quite honest about it. This is the third game against the so-called big teams in the Premier League, and they've thrown up on themselves once again. There's no other way to put it. I mean, Conte accepted, and I don't think he was able to argue any other way, accepted after the game that Man United were the better team in his after-match interview. But then once again, he sort of denigrated his own players, talking about levels and squads and how the levels against Arsenal. They did get a draw at Chelsea, the other big game, but they were outplayed for most of it until he was able to throw on the big subs that weren't actually, to be fair, weren't available to him today, like Richarlison and Kulusevski. But really, are Man United, Arsenal and Chelsea, particularly the first two, really that far ahead of this Tottenham side at this moment in time? The way United have started this season, we know Arsenal have started well, but it's a good squad, but it's not a startling squad. So is there that big a disparity? But they've been outplayed. And quite frankly, I didn't think they were looking that much of a threat on the counter-attack. I mean, he chose to go with the extra midfielder in Bissouma and play 3-5-2, and that was maybe down to the personnel available. But in the big games, they've just not been able to do it. But I think the upside is for them, they're beating the other teams, Dan. And that might be enough to get them into the top four at the end of the season. I don't know, but they certainly haven't produced the goods against the bigger boys in the Premier League so far this season.
I think he's too cautious. He waits, and I think sometimes the way Conte can play is you have to be careful. When you get so many talented players in your team, you don't always have to wait to see what your opponent does. And I think Conte that is one of his tactical setup, to see how can I wait and see when they make the mistake and I pounce on that. But I feel like sometimes you also have to lead it. And as Perisic, I saw him, for example, sometimes 1-against-1. We all know the guy that, why I enjoy watching him was he would take you on. Sometimes he cuts back and plays the ball simple. He had one time he go on a 1-on-1, he did a step over, and he didn't accelerate. I'm not just pointing him out, but I'm just saying, as wingers, sometimes you stand there to beat your opponent, regardless if you're away from home or you're at home. And sometimes, the same with Doherty, this balance is sometimes tricky. I feel like they have to have more control and lead more the line in saying hey, I want to win and I'm going to win. And today I felt they were more saying we're going for a 0-0 and we're going to hold it on, and maybe we're lucky with Kane and Son.
I mean, as weird as it sounds, they actually could have changed this game. The one chance that Kane had at 1-0, and actually United went up the other side and made it 2. But, I think, unfortunately, they've got a coach who thinks that with the makeup of his team, he thinks it's just going to happen. When we were talking about this game before it, we're talking about Tottenham's going to sit and then they're going to break on United. And I think they know that. And sometimes you have to make it happen. It seems to me that too many times Tottenham just sit there and think it's going to happen for them. Once teams get into a way of playing, sometimes you can't get out it. And so you end up losing the game, and then you're thinking, if only.
And you can see that at 2-0, the spirit of the players changed and they tried to attack. And I always wonder why they didn't try to do that before. I mean, with the quality that they have, there is no doubt for me that they can have another option. But you have to work on that. And if you come to Manchester just for the draw and maybe hope for a counter-attack and 1-0 and bye-bye, we go home, that's not enough. And you don't deserve to be in the first 4 if you have only that option.